I'm Tony Wilcox. I'm originally from Middleport, New York, and I currently reside in Ruskin, Florida.
And I'm Nicole Wiley, and I'm originally from Westmoreland, New York, and I'm currently living in Ruskin as well. We actually own two businesses. We own a window cleaning business, and we own a catering business that we've had for about 10 years. We'd been living down here in 2007, I think. 2006, 2007. I'd been asking for a while.
Yeah, it's kind of
my thing.
She'd just be like, marry me. She'd just like,
we just have a moment.
Salt, marry me. Like,
yeah, we'd have a moment, and I'd ask. So I'd be asking all the time, and she's like, no, yeah. So one day we're watching TV, and we just had another one of those moments, and she says, marry me.
She said, I'm gonna stop asking.
Because I told her a while ago, I'm
gonna stop asking because you can't. But like when you're,
Yeah, and so she did. We were just watching TV, and I don't know what
watching
happened,
TV, and I'm just like sitting next to her, and I'm like,
and she just had a moment.
You just like, you just.
So she asked, and I'm like, are you sure? And she said yes. So that was it. We decided that we were gonna have a ceremony, and of course it wasn't legal here in Florida at the time, but for us it didn't matter. That's what marriage isn't about. It's not about the piece of paper. The piece of paper is very important, but it's about committing to the other person. So we planned in August 8/8/08. We wanted to keep it easy for her to remember.
I got a big numbers thing. Again, neurotic. I have big numbers thing like 8/8/8.
So 8/8/08 is when we had a ceremony in Fort DeSoto, and it was a small ceremony.
On the beach.
It was on the beach. We had somebody we knew actually perform the ceremony for us.
Her husband took photographs.
Her daughter was our little child, a ring bearer, and it had rained all day long, and we were like, this is not
Driving
good.
over the Skyway. Black, ominous clouds,
all the way around.
Lightning is striking, but there's a little lighter gray spot over like the Fort DeSoto area.
And we ended up having a beautiful sunset. Actually, it was really the color of the sky was beautiful. Ended up being a beautiful night. So, and we ended up going to Hawaii for our honeymoon. And that was the second time I'd taken her to Hawaii. So yeah, we got our rings there, and then we went to my favorite point in Hawaii, and we. Said a few words, kind of did our own little thing there too, and exchanged rings again with the actual bands.
The bands that we want to.
So that was it.
To me, that's our wedding.
And then we actually, then this year, I knew that.
She's been following.
I've been obviously tracking. Following, and I'm like, gosh, when's this going to happen in Florida? This is going to happen, and it's going to happen probably right around New Year's. I know it's going to happen. I said, so I would like to. Formally asked Tony to renew our vows. I made a photo book, and it was the places we'll go. It was Dr. Seuss book, and it had pictures of us and stuff, and all of our adventures. We travel a lot.
She made up a rhyme and stuff.
I made up my own
rhyme. She doesn't like being creative and put it out there, but she did.
So I did it.
It was adorable.
And so when we were all at dinner, I gave it to her, and at the end of it, it of course says, "Will you, when this becomes legal, will you renew renew our vows?" I'm like, well, Valentine's Day is coming up, so. We already celebrate Valentine's Day. Why not? It won't be a whole separate thing. It'll just be, it's Valentine's Day. And it's the day we renewed our vows. Yeah. Right. So, and I was on the website, and I saw that they were doing the group ceremony at the Florida Botanical Gardens, and I thought that was awesome.
The energy was just.
It was very neat doing it in that setting.
I was shocked because I'm like, oh, we're gonna do a group, but it was really like you could just feel it. You could just feel everyone's just like. It was in the air.
Positive energy, just
Really
love.
was.
And
we had
people in front of us. We had gay couple in front of us. We had another set of lesbians next to us. We had
an older couple. It might have been their second marriage. We had
so we had there were mixed race couples. There were Latino couples, or just every kind of couple that you could.
All there.
And nobody cared. Nobody was looking. Nobody was looking around and judging anybody. Everybody was there for the same reason. It was just because they all love each other, and you can just feel it. And when we all turned to each other when we were saying our vows, you could tell people kind of looking around at other couples, and everyone would smile at each other, and because you could just feel it, and it didn't matter. Nobody was looking at us and being like, oh, it was completely different, and I guess neither of us really expected it to feel like that. It was really a big deal, and then the reality of it afterwards was a little mind blowing. Like we're married. I mean, yes, we've always been married, but everybody else recognizes that
They may not like it.
Right.
But
they reckon, and it's still
they're
even
obligated to recognize.
Even now,
things.
a couple weeks later, it's still sinking in.
Tony,
Yes.
how does it feel to now call Nicole your wife?
I love it. And I say it like my wife, my wifey, and now like, and again, I think because I knew that even though I consider her my wife, I knew that technically it didn't mean anything, and that I knew that other people in the community have used wife or husband, and they kind of use it in I don't want to say it devalues the word, but they're kind of, because it wasn't an actual option, they'd say it even if they weren't in kind of committed, even if they hadn't had, and now when I say it, it's got this, and I'm sad to say, but it definitely has this substantial, like, weight thing now, even though my commitment to her remains, like, ever steady the same. It's not that has grown because of this, but when I say it now, and I'm like, I'm not just calling her that, you have to recognize her as that.
Just that it's now legally recognized adds a level of legitimacy in some people's eyes. And that's an important step, that even if they don't accept it, but they have to respect it, because, I mean, again, I'm a little bitter that I am a United States citizen who pays their taxes, but I am not afforded, I am in just as committed of a relationship as you or you or you, but because of the gender issue, it's not, even people who, again, it's again, the whole, like, even people who aren't necessarily super biased in a hostile way, again, then you're playing, then it just doesn't seem, it's not as real to people, and it's not as valued, and it's unfortunate that just the spiritual, just the bond with the vows that we make to each other doesn't do that. But I think it's an important thing. I think it's an important thing for other people to see. But I worry about backlash, about people just that, what are they going to try to take? How are they going to keep trying? Because how are they going to try to hold us down now?
Will they find another way?
Yes, absolutely.
This is love, and this is not wrong. Your love can't be wrong.
I'm Brian Bacher, and I'm the Brian with the Y. It's important, as you'll learn in a minute. I've lived in Pinellas County since '79, so it feels like from there. But actually, I grew up in the tundra of Wisconsin, where I describe my life there as being a rose in a cornfield.
And my name is Brian Vickery. Legally, it's Bert, but I've always gone by my middle name because my dad, my grandfather, and everybody else is Bert, so I didn't want to be Little Bird or Birdie or any of those other things, so I went by Brian, and it stuck. So I'm the Brian with the I. And it's how we distinguish ourselves, even though people call us I, Y, B squared, lots of different things. But and I've lived all over. I'm mainly from the Midwest. Was born in Nebraska, but moved a lot as a kid. Well, I am a used car salesman, the guy that you don't trust. That's not true, though. I work for CarMax, best place to buy a used car.
That's right. And I work in private practice. I'm a licensed mental health counselor and hypnotherapist, and I've been in private practice in Largo since '91 or '92, and I did inpatient psychiatric work before that.
I have 2 sons and
Grandchildren.
2 grandchildren and a third one on the way.
Talk about something I never, ever, ever thought would happen, is I have plastic playware in my backyard.
I said I would never do it again, and here I am married again. So yeah, he's pretty special. So it was on my 60th birthday.
Which, by the way, speaking of mushy stuff, I got to tell
He
you.
had been trying to convince me to get married for quite a while. Ever since I got divorced, he said, and I understood because he'd had many relationships over the years, and actually been left in almost every one, and was always afraid I was going to do the same thing. And I kept saying, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. But he said, I'd feel better if we got married. And I said, someday, maybe, I'm not sure. You know, I said, I really don't think I want to again, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I did that. I don't think I want to do it again.
And I was really excited about what was going on legally, you know, nationally and in Florida. And when it finally happened in Florida, I was all excited, but I didn't like push the issue. I just sort of, guess what?
Yep.
And so I changed the subject. I say, well, what do you want to do for your 60th birthday? What do you want to do for
And
your
then
60th birthday?
Wouldn't let that go. You
Right.
know, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? I'm going to do something special for your 60th. So I finally just said, well, I've decided what I want to do for my 60th birthday. And he said, what's that? And I said, I think I want to get married.
How long have you two been together then?
Living together now is
4 years.
4 years.
And we kind of clicked very quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah. But now we're legally married.
Yeah, no one can, you know, have any thing to stand on to challenge any of that. And I mean, I've known people that have been left the hospital when a partner died, got home, and the family had locked the house and changed the locks, and they couldn't even get to their clothes. And I've had, you know, so there's a lot of that kind of stuff that we're aware of that.
We don't have to
Or
worry
people
about
that have passed away. In the state of Florida, once you're dead, your body belongs to next of kin. Regardless of what your will says, durable power of attorney is, that's the deal. Your body belongs to them. And of course, there's been people who have not been able to have their wishes executed because of that.
You can't take it back. What's done's done. It'll never be taken back. It's just an row. Soon it'll be the whole country. And probably 50 years from now, this will be looked at as, wow, that was just a step, you know. And who knows where things will go. You know, finally, race doesn't matter anymore.
Well, not
like it did,
Yeah,
but it's
not like
still,
it did.
you know, race, religion, sexual preference, what our founding fathers probably didn't totally envision, but that's what it meant to be.
Everything that we can do in any way we can do it, I think I love what this is about, because this is another thing, like I talked about TV and film, making a difference, because it normalizes that
Or just like everybody
we're
else.
just folks, you know, and ultimately there will be somebody who will do a film like Oprah did for Selma, you know, somebody will do a film like that, you know, that will talk about the history and talk about the people that were, you know, that were beaten or ignored or jailed or whatever, you know, and get that somewhere where it could be preserved. And I'm glad that you're doing what you're doing, because we need to preserve people who remember what it was like when you were at risk walking anywhere doing anything. And then there are the people that were before that, you know, that unless they had privilege and power, were at huge risk, and mostly lived whatever kind of lives they could live to get by. So I'm glad that this is happening.
I'm just glad to be part of it and not have to hide anything anymore. So it's nice to know that you can be yourself.
My name is Amber Reddy, and I'm originally from Minneapolis, Minnesota, but we live in Pinellas Park, Florida, and I've lived in Florida most of my life.
My name is Lita Reddy, and I was born in St. Petersburg, Florida, where I have lived my entire life, and I just moved to Pinellas Park. But we still date. 11 years later, we still date. It's important, it's healthy for a relationship, because over the years, you tend to grow and you don't want to grow apart. So it's very important that I still take her out and open the door and tell her she's beautiful.
On date night only. She doesn't open the door all the time. That would just not be realistic. But yes, we do still date. Actually, it's been really, really good. I didn't think that it would really change a lot, because we had already been living, you know, as if we were married. But it does change a lot. It changes everything.
Yes, it does.
Like
ramps up the respect much more, you know. And then when you bind to someone legally for life, you have to think about every decision you make, you know, how is this going to affect her, you know, this and that. So it actually enhanced the relationship a lot more.
I think so too. I think surprisingly, you know, we joked about when the law did start changing. She looked at me like, okay, I'm getting cold feet. And, you know, I was like, what are you talking about? We're already living as if we're married. But it did change things, and surprisingly, it's just a different level. Like she said, it's a level of respect. You almost feel like that one piece of paper just, it matters.
I like her a lot more now.
You said you were married and you got divorced. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I've always kind of, you know, felt a certain way, but never really felt comfortable just saying, you know, I'm gay or, you know, coming out like that. I think that it's just very different for me. I used to always say that man, woman, or tree, she was the person for me, because I never really had like a serious girlfriend. You know, I in college did my thing, but I've never had a relationship with a woman. She's my first relationship and will be my last, but she is, even if she was a man or a tree or whatever form she came in my life, she's the one for me. So it's really kind of different for me. Being able to accept that I was in love with a woman it was not so much accepting that I was gay. It was accepting that I'm in love with a woman, and that it's not a phase. You know, and 11 years later, I'm still just as much in love with this person, whatever she is.
My stepson is awesome. He sent me a text message because he's in D.C., you know.
He goes to school in D.C.
And he sent me a text message and say, awesome, you and mom are getting married. I loved it. You know, y'all have my support and I'm behind you. You know, so the kid, out of the whole situation, I'm not a really big crier, but that kid does something to me. You know what I'm saying? Where it kind of touched my heart in a whole another way. I'm very family oriented. I am my brother's keeper. I am my sister's keeper, and I am my mother's keeper. You know, as well as my father, but there's only one true father. But you know, I'm very family oriented, and family comes first no matter what. And I'm very strict about that. And us having a union to build a better foundation for them now can teach them about stability, true love, the awesomeness of life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the struggles come every day. You know, we want them also to be proud about the happy times and to appreciate everything. So I think it's very important that we were able to take the step and be a real family unit, legally speaking as well, so that, you know, they can stand proud and also say that it's legal.
I think it's important for people to know that, you know, first of all, there's other people out there like them. Everybody go through, if not the same struggles, similar struggles through life. I sit back and watch a lot of kids not be comfortable with their self, and they want to commit suicide and all that, you know, because they don't feel accepted by the world. And, you know, I'm one of them that's here to tell them that you only need acceptance from God. And you got to put the rest in your hands on how you want life to be, because no one can make choices for you. You know, just keep your head up and stay true to who you are and how you feel and what you believe in. And life will continue to go on. Every day you will continue to age, you know. So that's pretty much my perspective.
It's our job, in my opinion, when we're in this world. We've been given all these beautiful things to enjoy. It's our job to spread love, and helping ourselves and other people in this type of issue is just another way to kind of spread love and acceptance rather than negativity, and we're happy to be a part of it.
I concur, my dear wife.
My name is Nicole. I am originally from West Palm Beach, Florida, and I live in St. Petersburg, Florida right now.
I'm Katie. I'm from Tampa, Florida, and I live in St. Pete also with my wife.
Okay, so here's what happened. I was staying at my mom's house. I had just gotten a new apartment with my roommate. We were gonna move to Seminole Heights, and I had gone through a breakup like 6 months prior, and I was like, I'm moving to Tampa, I'm gonna be single, this is gonna be awesome. I was at my mom's, and I was just like in my room, drinking wine, and I was like, I'm so bored, I'm in Spring Hill, there's nothing to do. And I was like, I'm just gonna get online and just like meet people, I need to start dating, like, you know, and just going out, whatever. So I get on Plenty of Fish, and I make a profile, and like 2 hours later, I'm like, oh my God, this is the longest process ever. Like 500 questions, the uploading of the pictures, and I mean, it's like a lot. And I almost gave up, and then I was like, no, just finish it. You're so close. So when you're done with the profile, it like pops up like your matches, you know, that are in their database, and it's like, do you want to meet this person? Yes, no, or maybe. And you have to like click, you know, the little button, and I'm like, nope. And then her little face showed up, and I was like, and I was like, yep. And then I just like, you know, I was just like checking it out, like going on the website, rereading my profile like 500 times to make sure I don't look crazy. And then like 20 minutes later, after I made the profile, she messaged me, and we haven't stopped talking since.
I mean, look at her, duh.
Now we're married. So we met like a week later, we texted for like a week, and then we were like, okay, we gotta like meet in person, like we gotta do this. And we met, and that was it.
And we were at the Grand Bohemian Hotel in Orlando, and we were going to a concert that night.
We were going to see Fanagram.
We were, and I had some champagne delivered, and
oh my God.
I was really nervous, and I kept pacing back and forth in the room, and I wanted to do it before she got dressed because I knew she was gonna cry and like her makop was gonna get upset.
Spent like an hour getting ready, and then she decides to do it, and I'm like,
I was nervous. So.
Are you kidding me?
It didn't happen before she got ready.
I couldn't even see. Like she had the box like open, and like just my mascara was like, I was crying, and I was like, I can't even see it. I don't even know what's going on. Like I couldn't. Yeah. And then she was like, did you say yes? And I was like, oh, yeah, yes, fuck yes, yeah. And then we went to the concert, and the whole way there, I was like, I'm engaged.
She told everybody.
Anybody who would listen, even if they didn't want to listen, I was like, look at it, I'm engaged. I'm engaged.
The license, so they changed the application form to just say like partners, but they haven't changed the actual license. Nobody thought about that. So when we were filling out the application, she was like, who goes first? And I'm like, well, you can go first. So she was partner A and I was partner B. And it turns out on the actual license, partner A is the groom. So I'm her blushing bride.
And you are planning to have the official ceremony, or the wedding ceremony,
April.
I should say, in April.
Yep.
April 27th.
We're probably gonna start trying in like June.
Yeah, like right after. We're taking like all the money we get, and we're just gonna do it.
Yep.
How many children do you guys want to have?
But we talked if we end up with 2 girls or 2 boys, then we'll adopt whatever we don't have.
Yeah, because we would like to experience both, you know. So we'll see what happens. Ideally, we would have a boy and then a girl. I don't know why I want it to be that way. I just do. So
I think because then there's like the big brother.
Yeah, it's like the whole. I don't know.
And weddings are expensive. Pretty expensive. So we couldn't invite everyone that we wanted to, obviously.
I would love to invite my clients, but I mean, realistically, like it's not gonna happen. So, but yeah, my best friend is actually my maid of honor, and she's actually engaged to a woman. So they got engaged shortly after we did. So it's like super excited. You're engaged at the same time as your bestie, you know.
We're both born and raised in Florida. I mean, we had talked about, if this didn't work out, maybe we would go to a different state, but
I was like, nope, we're holding out.
Yeah.
We were gonna have the ceremony regardless. Like I was married to her in my heart. Like it doesn't matter. I already was like, come on now. It didn't matter. It's like we were like, screw it, we're having the party, we're gonna do it. Like we're already married. It's not.
So obviously, we were engaged before it was legalized.
We didn't know if it was going to happen in time for the wedding or.
It just makes it real, I think to put an emotional connection to what we're seeing in the news and, all the legal part of it, I think is important.
Yeah. We're just normal people. We just work and we have our houses and we hang out with our friends and we're just like everybody else.
Just living the dream. It's not as easy for everyone as it was for us growing up in an environment where it was more accepted and not like a small town or a religious place. It's
about
2015, and there are more Americans that accept it than there are that don't. So
That's
there's
how
going to
we
be somebody.
perceive it anyway. Maybe that's not
That's true.
statistically
It's
true or whatever, but
statistically
is
true,
it?
yeah.
See, that's so awesome. Yeah. That's great.
I don't think any different. I mean, two people that love each other, it's hard work, it's a big commitment, and it's not for everybody, I don't think. I think people get married for a lot of the wrong reasons, and that's why we have an outrageous percentage of divorce.
I didn't think it
across
was
the
going to be
world.
this good. Like, I didn't think I was going to get this lucky. No, I mean, like, some people that are married, like, they're like, oh my, it's such a struggle. And I know it's going to be a struggle, but I got lucky. Like, it's just fun.
We're pretty
It's
lucky.
just fun. So I think we're good.
You're gonna
We're gonna be
grow a
rocking.
human.
We're gonna be rocking parents.
Yeah, we're gonna be awesome.
Our
It's
kids are
be
gonna
fun.
think we're awesome.
My name's Steve Armstrong. I'm from, Louisville, Kentucky, and I live in Tampa, Florida now.
I'm Joe Hodges, and I was born in Florida, raised in Georgia, and now Tampa, Florida is our home. And this is our son, Finnegan. Finnegan, can you say your name? And where do you live?
In Tampa, Florida.
Very good. And what's your whole name? Very good.
Joe and I met, we played on the same softball team, and it was probably 1997. We actually, didn't really know him that well, didn't get to know him for many years later.
He was dating somebody else at the time.
I was dating somebody else. He moved away for a while, I moved away for a while. I kept running into him when I bought a house back here, because I was in the process of moving back to Tampa. I ran into him like, well, he'd just be a good guy to know, because I already knew a little bit about him, not very much. So one day we kept running into each other and say, oh, we'll have to have dinner sometime. And this was 10 years ago? Yeah, right.
10 years ago.
And from that, we had dinner after trying for 3-4 months. We kept trying to set dates, and it just never worked, and we were running on different schedules. And we just met and had dinner, and after dinner I was like, wow, he's a really good guy. He's a lot more than I thought he was. So that's kind of how it all started.
I invited him to come to Shakespeare in the Park a few days after that, and at Shakespeare in the Park, a friend of ours asked us if we were dating, and or asked us if we were on a date, and I was like, no, we're not on a date. And then it's kind of sort of looked at each other, and we're like, oh, maybe we are on a date. And the rest is history.
Equality is just the fact that people will recognize that our relationship is real. I mean, after 10 years, if it's not real enough for people to acknowledge that, there's something wrong with society. So that's kind of where we kind of see this. It's been a cause that we've supported, because there's a lot of people that deserve a lot more recognition and a lot more security in who they are, just because society should definitely be recognizing how important each relationship is, regardless of who it's with.
Equality is obviously very important. It's something that's been fought for a long time by a lot of the people that have come before us, and it's our responsibility to carry this over the mountain, so to speak. And I feel we're really almost there, but there is a larger battle to still be waged in ensuring that the required recognitions legally are set forth. But we have a cultural healing that has to occur. And there's a personal responsibility for anyone that's out there that is gay, lesbian, transgendered, or otherwise, to carry forward and to understand that while we've moved forward and are moving forward legally with the recognition of equality, we have a greater responsibility as the people that are the beneficiaries to carry forward with compassion and ensure that we heal the cultural fabric that exists around us.
So after many years of discussion,
Come here.
and at one point, I was not on board with having kids at all. And it wasn't because I disliked kids. I just never saw myself having one. And Joe wanted kids and wanted kids and wanted kids, and it was a focus of his life for a very long time. And then one day he just gave up. And
well, let me pick it up from here. So a year after that, I stopped asking him about it, and I stopped asking him, and then as we were out at dinner, one night he said to me, he goes, you know, I never really thought about it until you asked me the question and about being a parent. And he goes, and the reason that I said no was because I never imagined myself being a father. And he said, so over this last year, I thought about what it would be like for me to be a father. And he said, I think I'd be a really good dad. And I was like, you would be. And he said, so I think we should have a child. And 3 years later, then elephants can give birth in a shorter period of time, but there's a larger process in having him, but he's made it. Isn't that right? How did you get here?
Because I did.
Because you did? Who brought you into our lives?
Dad and Daddy.
Daddo and Daddy?
That's cool. Spin.
Yeah. Are you glad you're here?
You had a good life, buddy?
Yeah. All right.
It's okay.
The marriage equality fight is never going to be over until it is completely accepted everywhere in the United States and really everywhere in the world. When we travel with our child, if we go into a county or into a state that doesn't recognize our marriage and something happens with our child, he's at risk because that state may not recognize one or both of us as the father of our child. And until we have that recognition, we have this responsibility to be married to each other because we've made that commitment. We have a greater responsibility because we have a child. And we have a overall responsibility because we have to provide this assistance to those who can't fight for it for themselves in this world. It's very important to see what's underneath the surface of the people that are around you. You know, we look at some of the homeless people that exist in our communities, and the minute we take a moment to ask a question and to understand a little bit, we realize that there's a great deal of depth in what has brought that person to the present state that they're in. And we all react and respond to the things that have existed around us and put those things out forth. And sometimes they're protective measures. And finding out what really has someone at this level, but getting down here is what's important. And that message goes in multiple directions. Even for the people that, you know, if you're gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgendered, is look beyond the initial reaction of the people that you think might be saying something negative about you or to you, because they may be just protecting a wound, or they may be at a point or the cusp of an opportunity to make a decision of which direction they're going to go when faced with that conversation that we have to address every day. And you can be someone that can help make a change in a person's life along those lines.